right, and welcome to a brand new episode of Sipping Tea with Suzanne. I am your fabulous host, Positively Suzanne, and I'm so excited to continue the month of Phenomenal Woman with my fantastic guest, Miss Diana Preston. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. Good. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for coming. Thank you for making the drive. I
Yeah.
appreciate that. I know you'll be driving, girl.
Yep.
Like you don't mind driving, so but no,
hmm
thank you so much. I appreciate that. I'm excited to chat with you tonight.
I
All
am
right.
too. I am too. It's an honor to be here. I remember when I first met you and I first saw this and I was like, oh, I can't wait for my invite.
You're excited. Yeah, I'm like, I'm there. Just to let you know, you could have asked me.
Oh, I know, but I know you're busy, and I feel like you have a rhythm and a schedule, and you
Mm.
you have people at the times that you want. So I patiently waited, and it worked out because here I am
Okay.
on Women's Month, right?
I love it. Yeah, so I am celebrating, we are all celebrating Women's History Month, and I'm spotlighting some phenomenal women for the month of March. And Miss Diana happens to be one of them that we're
hmm
spotlighting. And I'm so excited to hear all
Thank
your
you. Yeah,
sorries.
yeah.
All right, yay. All right, so at first, I do want to thank all our loyal viewers and subscribers. Thank you so much for tuning in week after week. We truly appreciate you. And if you're a woman watching during Women's History Month, this is for you. I had a show, the one was a reschedule. We had it yesterday, and then we have one today. So thank you again to all our loyal viewers and subscribers. Thank you to Paul Anderson, our executive producer, who makes the magic happen weeks after weeks. I just get to sit here and look pretty. And I do want to highlight that to end the month of March, we're having on March 27th, 3/27/25 at 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. at the JMAC, the I Got You Sis Women's Summit. So this is the second year. Last year was phenomenal. The lineup is just beautiful. So many amazing women speakers talking about the power of sisterhood, embracing each other, allyship, and I actually even have someone who's talking about toxic feminine relationships because those do exist. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm excited. Go on my page. You can find out how to register. Speaker application is closed, but you can certainly be a vendor. If you're looking to sponsor, that's okay. But if you also want to just show up, come on. But I am very excited. Miss Diana Preston is
hmm
here with me. And if you're watching the show, obviously you're going to see her bio underneath. She is the founder and CEO of Caring Medical Staff LLC.
hmm
All right. But before we get to that, we're going
hmm
to talk a little bit about your
hmm
story. All right. Because she is a Renaissance woman. You love to travel.
I do.
You're very vulnerable. You share all your information in
hmm
terms of, the wins, the losses. And I think that is so important because a lot of times, when folks are watching social media, sometimes, if that's your deal, that's your deal. But, they only see the positive sides, the
Right.
wins, and they're thinking everybody's winning but me.
Right.
And I think it's also important to temper that and show, like, I've had this struggles. I was told
hmm
no, and I didn't start out knowing, what I know now. I didn't start out as the CEO and
Right.
founder. My path was different. So
Right.
if yours is different, it's okay. So let's start a little bit about like when you were growing up,
hmm
what did you think you wanted to be?
So when I was really young, I wanted to be a teacher. And
Okay.
then as I grew up, I didn't know what I wanted to be. Like I didn't have any true goals in life
Mm-hmm.
till, probably when I was like 17, 18, I started taking care of people. I started
Mm-hmm.
doing home health aid and I was a dietary aid for an assisted living home.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I was like, oh my God, I really love this. I love
Mm-hmm.
caring for people. I was a direct care staff. So I worked in a group home.
Mm-hmm.
And we provided personal care to the residents that lived there. We would take them out on outings, and that's when I was like, "Oh my God, I love this." But then it was like when I had my son when I was 20 is when I was like, all right, I want to be a nurse.
Mm-hmm.
I started school for CNA, and then I became a phlebotomist, again still taking care of people, working in the hospital, and then went to school for nursing, and my journey's just continued from
Mm-hmm.
there.
Okay. All
hmm
right. But it seems like you were always in that field. Like you were always had a passion for taking care of others.
Right, right. Since very early on, since like I was 17 years old. I think I
Mm-hmm.
was 17 years old when I started at the group home as a direct care staff. And
Okay.
ever since then, I remember like maybe like when I was 18, 19, I drifted off cleaning
Mm-hmm.
because I wanted a business.
Yeah.
I was gonna
Okay.
start my own cleaning business then.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. That's a
yeah,
different.
yeah.
Yeah.
I made flyers and I would put them in the apartment complex that I lived in.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh wow, that was throwback. I
Oh.
forgot about that.
That's what I love
Yeah.
about this show. You find things out. You're like, okay, so you could have been, Karen Professional Cleaning LLC.
Yeah,
I don't know.
that's so
Okay.
funny. I forgot what my name was supposed to be. Yeah.
Well, your staff and the folks that you take care of
Yeah.
are very, very happy that you went into this realm. So, what was the catalyst for you that made you decide to open your own business, and how
Mhm.
long have you been in business?
So, Caring Medical Staffing, so I created the LLC in 2021.
Mm-hmm.
I've been officially in business since September 2022. And
Congratulations.
thank you. Really, really, really exciting. And sometimes I don't even believe it. I'm like, oh my God,
Mm,
it's been a journey. It's been a journey, but we're successful and it's happening and we're making a difference and
mm,
it's a beautiful thing. But I started this whole idea was in 2018. So
mm-hmm,
my youngest was born in 2017, and I was a stay-at-home mom for 2 years. I stood home with him, and at the time I was an LPN, and I was finishing online program to become an RN, a registered nurse. And I remember one day I was in my room and I was looking at him, and I was like, I never want to miss anything. And I'm like, I need to come up with something where I could always be in his life and I won't ever, which I struggled with my oldest because I was going to school, I worked full time, and I was just starting my life,
mm-hmm,
saving up for a house. Like, so much was happening when I had my oldest. So with my youngest I was like, all right, it's time to slow down. I don't
mm-hmm,
want to miss anything. So I in 2018 is when I was sitting in the bed and I thought about, well, what can I do where I won't ever get sick of it?
mm-hmm,
Something that I have a passion for, that passion will always be there. So I thought it had to be something medical because
mm-hmm,
this is what I love to do. And then I thought, okay, I could do home care or I could do a staffing agency. And I thought about a staffing agency so that I can provide staffing services, for nurses, for, I want to move on. The goal is to do phlebotomy, to do respiratory therapists, to provide staffing medically for all
mm-hmm,
areas, provide transportation staffing, for for the medical industry. And I came up with Caring Medical Staffing. So that was in 2018, and I was an LPN. So I was like, oh, I feel like I'd be more of an asset to my clients and to my staff if I had a higher education.
mm-hmm,
So I put all this information. I created the LLC. I mean, I created the name. I created the logo. I put it in an envelope and I put it away. And then when I finished school for my RN was 2020, 2021, I finished my bachelor's. And then I was like, you know what? Now it's time to
Now
do
it's
this.
time.
So June of 2021, I mailed my application for the LLC. And then September 2022, I was like, I got all my insurances in place. I got everything in place. And I was like, all right, it's time.
Mm-hmm. All
And
right.
that's literally
That's
how it
it.
started, right in my bed. Just the idea of like being there and being present for my child and making
Mm-hmm.
my own schedule and providing that opportunity for other people, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because you don't ever think that you can do it. And I feel
Mm-hmm.
like for nursing, what has allowed me to live my life and travel and be present for my kids
Mm-hmm.
and enjoy life is
Mm-hmm.
because the flexibility that I have, that work
Mm-hmm.
life balance,
Mm.
that in healthcare it's really hard to find,
It really is.
because the expectations are so high.
Mm-hmm.
And this allowed me to have a work life balance, and I was like, now I can provide that for other people. So when
Mm.
you see me making my own schedule and
Mm.
working when I want to work, and it's like
Mm.
you can do this too by working for staffing
Mm-hmm.
agencies and making your own schedule. And then
Mm-hmm.
from there it's just led to other opportunities and other desires. And
Mm.
now I teach, and just everything
Mm-hmm.
that I love to do kind of all
Mm-hmm.
bottled into one.
Okay, wonderful. So when you just started, what was
Mhm,
some of the things that you started off? Because I know that you've grown, and
mhm,
I so admire everything that I see. Like each time you add
mhm,
something to your
mhm.
your repertoire, I'm like, ah, you
Right,
go girl, you go queen, keep on living that life, keep on
right,
living that dream. So when you started out, what were some of the first services that you provided? And as you're grown, what are some of the things that
right.
you have added?
So when we first started, it was applying staff, providing registered nurses, licensed practical nurses, and certified nurse assistants
Mm-hmm.
to long-term care facilities. Um, and long-term care facilities seem to be like the highest need,
Mm.
right, and the most difficult to staff. So that's why we focused on that. And then as time went on, like we started getting school contracts and providing school nurses, doing sub nurses for the schools. We went from providing staffing as needed to actually doing full contracts. So we'll
Mm-hmm.
do 8-week contracts. We'll do 16-week contracts to kind
Mm.
of fill the gap while a facility or an organization hires their own staff. So we went from temporary per diem staffing to, fulfilling contracts.
Mm.
We did the long-term care to, schools. We do adult day programs now.
Wow.
So we've expanded in the different organizations that we provide coverage. We just got a contract with Gandara Center, which is
Mhm.
a mental health organization, and they have residential programs for children. So now we're staffing residential programs for
Wow.
the younger population. um, so that's, we just added on to the different
Mm.
organizations that we
Mhm.
contract and that we help. Um, and in addition, we now provide CPR training. So
Mm.
I'm CPR certified as an
Mm.
instructor. So we provide CPR training at the office, or we'll go to organizations and provide it for their staff. So that's something that we've provided. And I just became an RN observer through my business
Okay, girl.
to do the knowledge skill I'm sorry, to do the clinical skill test for the CNA so that they could become
Wow.
certified in the state of Massachusetts.
Oh,
Okay, I just
wow.
did that this week. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, yeah. So
congratulations.
not only do I teach the CNA classes, which I can't test my own students, okay, conflict of
Yes.
interest, but I
Yes.
can test other people. And there's such
Mhm.
a shortage that I'm like, oh my God, like this is wonderful, because if I
Mm.
can test 6 students a week, that's 6 more students a week that's going to come and be able to enter the workforce. So
Mhm.
I'm really excited about that.
No, absolutely. And
Hmm.
not only is like your business is growing, you're also
Yep.
you're providing these opportunities
Hmm.
for other,
Right.
mothers or just
Yep.
anybody trying to make a living because it's hard out here.
Right.
And, able to create that work-life balance that you were able
Right.
to create
Right.
in your personal life and grown
Hmm.
in terms
Hmm.
that now you are teaching.
Yep.
And, that is truly remarkable
Yep.
because, sometimes, when we have a vision and you said, you wrote it down and you put it aside
Mhm.
and had to go through some hoops and do some other
Yep.
things for it to materialize, but you never gave up on it.
Right.
You knew that it was
Right.
going to happen. So,
Right.
what were some of the things that you do? Was there any places that you connected with for help or resources, or how were you able to, once you got started, to seek out contracts and things like that?
So, um, some of the some of it was because of my experience and me actually being a nurse in the community. So I've
Mm,
worked for agencies, so I've worked at facilities.
wonderful.
They always say nursing. I always say it too. Nursing is a small community, right? Everybody
Yeah.
knows everyone. So my first contract was a facility in Greenfield that I worked at many times, so they knew my work ethics. And I went up to the administrator, like, listen, like I just started my own business. I'm a
Mm,
staffing agency. Like I have staff for you. Like I would love to
love that.
help.
Mm,
And it was a Puerto Rican lady that was the administrator in that
mm,
facility. And when I saw her, I was like, oh my God, like so proud of her.
mm,
And she was like, all right, send it over. And she
mm.
signed my first contract. And I was like, oh my
Wow.
God. And I'm friends with her now. She's actually part of my board. I just started a board for caring medical staff here. And she agreed to be a part of my board of directors.
Okay.
But she signed my first contract,
Mm,
and that contract led to 6 others because they're a
mm,
sister organization. And then, just I have to say a lot of my contracts right now are word of mouth.
mhm,
When they Google temp staffing agency,
mhm,
mine's is the first one that comes up in the Springfield area.
mhm.
So when I ask them, hey, how did you hear about us? It's, oh, well, we looked it up and you were the first one to call us back.
I love that.
And it's amazing.
Mm,
It's amazing. So I do try to, I try to reach
mhm,
out to different organizations and do networking events
mhm.
and market as much as I can,
Yeah.
word of mouth, people's experiences with the
Mhm,
business, whether it's staff or facilities.
mhm,
But a lot has been from, a Google
mhm,
search, and they see the company and they
mm,
see the reviews, and,
mm.
I try to remain active so they can see, stuff. And,
Absolutely.
like you said, I try to, I am vulnerable. And what's funny is I was thinking about that on my way here because I had just posted, I was nominated for the 40 under 40 in Springfield.
Congratulations.
Yes, and they called me and said, "Well, we have some good news, but it might not be some good news. You were nominated, but are you 40 yet?" And I said, "I just turned 40 5 weeks ago." And they said, "You don't qualify." And I was like, "Oh my God." And I was devastated. And I don't even know
Yeah.
why I was so devastated.
Mm,
Well, okay, I do know. It's because I have been seeing it every
mm,
year, and I was like,
mm,
"Ooh, I wish I get that one day."
mm.
Under 40. So here I am,
Yeah.
40. I don't no longer qualify. But
Okay.
I shared about it on Facebook, and I was
Mhm.
like, I wanted that,
Mm,
and it was real. I did want that, but I
mhm.
I feel like, anyways, I'm drifting off on something else,
No,
but
it's
like
okay. Come on. No, finish it. We have time.
I do tend to be that way because everything isn't all glamour. Everything
No.
isn't like, oh, I got this new contract. Like for
Mm.
for that, yes, that I got
Mm.
recently through
Five
through
no's.
Okay, like 10, 15 no's,
Yeah.
through that one yes that I got through the residential. Like, I have been shut down from
Mm,
big organizations after
mm,
big organizations,
mm.
and it's just, it is what it is,
Yeah.
but I keep the faith. My heart's in the right place. My goal is solid. My
Mm,
passion is there,
mm,
and I always mean well,
mm,
and I'm okay about it. I'm
mhm,
okay with the no, and keep it moving,
mm,
but um that's why I am vulnerable, because
mm.
I think people need to know that
I think it's important.
everything is not success. Everything is
Mm,
not, like, I've gone through things to
mhm,
get me here, and I this is my way of encouraging someone else.
mhm.
You know what I mean? and
Yeah.
and I had this conversation with some students today. I teach CNAs at Holyoke Community
Mhm,
College, and we're in our clinicals. So it's a 3-day clinical, because they need 21 hours. So tomorrow's our last day. So anyways, today one of the CNAs was like, oh, I've gone through a lot, and she gets judged a lot,
mm,
and I'm like, it's okay to be vulnerable. Like, you see, she
mhm,
was talking about how people, like, mistreated her when she
mm,
worked in the hospital, the
mhm,
nurses and stuff, because she used to be housekeeping or
mhm,
environmental services.
mm,
And I'm like, you have to know that, people have all gone through things, and I
mhm,
always try to, tell my story,
mm,
not to eliminate or minimize their story, but because when you see someone that's going through stuff that you went
mhm,
through, it's like, oh my God, I'm
mhm,
not telling you to encourage you, and I haven't done it. I'm encouraging you, and I've done this. Like, I am
mm,
living proof that you
mhm,
can do it.
mhm,
So I think that that's why it's important to kind of be transparent about it. It's
mm,
not for, I never want people to feel bad for me.
mhm,
I don't like people to feel bad for me. Sometimes I'll weigh things out. Something
mhm,
bad that happens to me, I'll wait it out a little bit until
mhm,
I've processed it, healed from it, so that I can
mhm,
share it from a different point, rather
mhm,
than a point of
mhm,
anger or sadness, if that
mm.
makes any sense.
It does. No,
you know
absolutely.
but I think it's important.
No,
you
it
know
is. I think your vulnerability is part of your authenticity. I think
right,
that's why people connect with you and people relate with you.
right.
And, I think anybody shares their story however they want, but this
Hmm.
is you. This is
Right.
your
Hmm.
authenticity,
Hmm.
and you share it however.
Right.
Congratulations on
Thank you.
making it. I'm so sorry that, like whatever, but
Hmm.
girl, it's a blessing aging,
Hmm.
right? So
Hmm.
they should have given it to you,
That's
but it's
crazy.
okay,
I'm not.
right?
But so, to be fair, it's misleading. 40 under 40.
Yeah.
You would think
You
40
were
or
40
under
when you
is
were
okay.
nominated. Yes, you
And
were
then the
40.
awards, it's this year, so it's not even like I'll be 41 when it's awarded.
Yeah,
But it
it's
is what it is.
okay.
I'll let Business West get away with
It's
it,
okay.
because
There's still 50 on the 50, right?
is there?
You're just getting
Is
started somewhere. I think Forbes does it. So
really?
and that's
That's
national,
funny.
girl. So or talk to them and says, hey, you know what would be nice? You guys should start a 50 on the 50.
Yeah,
So,
that's
because
funny.
there's life after 40, boo. Like tell them there is
Right.
life after
Right.
40.
Oh, you know what? That's what I was gonna say. So when I was telling the girl, the student that was talking
Yeah,
about, the people, downing her, and stuff like that, I'm like, we're all on our own path. Like,
absolutely.
there's no, like, oh, and we do it to ourselves, right? Because I used to do it. I want my RN by the time I'm 30. I wanted to buy a
Mm,
house by the time I was 30. I wanted,
mm,
all these things by a certain age. Some I accomplished on my
mm-hmm,
deadline, and some I didn't. Like, I'm still
mm-hmm.
in school for my master's. I was supposed to finish my master's like 3 years ago at this point, and I probably won't finish it for another 2 years.
Your path.
So I was telling her, like, that's okay. Like,
Mm,
I feel like society puts this pressure on you
mm-hmm,
to complete everything when
mm-hmm,
everybody else does, or
mm-hmm.
there's this age range
Yeah.
that you're supposed to do stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, in reality, like, people, you got to go through what you got to go through to get to where you're gonna be. And
Mm.
this is what makes you.
No,
So it's like,
absolutely.
it is what it is. It's all right that I didn't get it. I'm okay with it. I wasn't at first, but I'm over it.
Oh, okay. So we got tell you, I've had moments. So, I mean, I worked in retail leadership, had a very successful career for
Yeah.
over 20 something years. And then just one day,
Yeah.
I didn't think that was something that I was ever going to not want to do. Like, there was a path. I was like, okay, district manager. I was a district manager. I'm like, regional, and
Yeah.
move on to corporate and things like that. And then just one day, it wasn't my path anymore. And I was
Right.
like, I've invested so much
Yep.
into this. And then I was like, it's okay to pivot, right?
Yep.
So
Absolutely.
switched
Absolutely.
it up.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
See. I learned that you for all.
Yes.
Were you? No,
I'm a mentor
you're a
for them.
mentor. So
Yes.
I was part of the program, the E for
Hmm.
All in Pioneer Valley in Holyoke, and that was their thing. Pivot. Do you need
Pivot.
to pivot your business? Do you need to pivot your
Yeah.
business? So now I always run with that also, and it's like it's all right to pivot. Just don't
Mm.
pivot back. Let's pivot. You
No.
pivot to the side, but you pivot forward. But
Hmm.
it's absolutely okay to pivot. And look at you.
Like I,
Okay.
I would never imagine. Like when I set out and start, folks thought I was crazy. I was like, oh my god, you make good money. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
You have
Yeah.
this reputation. You've earned this, professional reputation for
Yeah.
such a long time. How are you going to switch around? So then all of a sudden, when I'm starting my business, I have zero clients. I have
Yep.
zero. Nobody knows who I
Yep.
am.
Yep.
And I
Yep.
said, you know what? I'm going to be intentional the way I
Right.
market. The intentional. I'm going to show up as me.
Right.
And they're either going to take it and leave
Yep.
it.
Absolutely.
And I'm just so blessed what
That
I
they
was
took it.
able to.
Took it.
Because you know what? If they don't take it, it's on them.
Right. Absolutely.
It's on
Yep.
them. Like God
Absolutely.
will put those in my path who needs to be in my
Yep.
path.
Yep.
And I was able to forge this path for
Yep.
myself and create the life that I wanted
Yep.
versus the one that like society demanded that
Yep.
I have, right?
Mhm.
It's just like, okay, at a certain age, you're supposed to have this. You shouldn't be starting over in your 40s. Oh my
Yep.
God. But girl,
Yep.
like we see what's happening after COVID. Like COVID like flipped everything
Right.
around and we were still standing,
Mhm.
right? So I'm like, why not?
Yep. Yep. The possibilities are endless. See, I feel
Absolutely.
that too though, because I'm divorced, right?
Okay.
So I got divorced. I
Mm-hmm.
separated from my ex-husband oh my God, 6 years ago.
6 years ago.
No,
Okay.
no, 5 years ago. Oh my
Okay.
God. Yeah, 2020, right before
Okay.
COVID.
Right before.
A month before COVID, I separated from my ex. Okay,
Okay.
separated from my ex. My sister passed like 2 months
Oh
after
my
COVID. Like
goodness.
it was an awful, awful year. That's when I finished my RN program. So I was in
Okay.
the bachelor's program. I was studying for my RN. I failed. I could not pass the exam. It was an awful year.
Mm-hmm.
But as it was for everybody, it was tough.
Mm-hmm.
But so I got divorced. So here I
Mm-hmm.
am, 35 years old,
Mm-hmm.
going through a divorce where it's like, oh my God, I could see it one or two ways, right? It's the
Mm-hmm.
end. It's the end. It's over. Like how do I start over at
Mm-hmm.
35 years old in a relationship? Not that I am in a relationship now, but I'm just saying, there's still hope. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's not ever over. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Like there's
Yeah.
always the opportunity is always there. Um, but yeah, at some points in certain things in life, you feel like, oh my God, like
Mm. No, I
and I
commend
think
you.
it's a mindset though. I think it's your mindset, you
No,
know.
you have to. Well, because again, society, our family, it
Right.
depend on your
Yep.
culture. They set
Mhm.
certain things, within you. It's kind of like, for me, it was
Mhm.
like, you can't leave a good paying job.
Yep.
You just
Yep.
can't. With
Yep.
you, it's probably like, so I for know for you, if they were like, oh my God, you can't get divorced in your 30s because,
Yep.
it's all of these things. It's like, who are you going to meet someone else? And
Right.
you
Right.
know
At this
what?
at this old age.
You know what? You could meet anyone at
Right.
any age.
At
And
any
and I
age.
think what people don't realize, and being in a great
Mhm.
relationship, it's an amazing thing.
Mhm.
But being in a great relationship with yourself, I think that's the
Right.
most important thing. And just being in a relationship just to be in a relationship,
Yep.
it's not good for you.
Yep. And that's the thing about society putting this pressure
They
where people
do.
do get into relationships and unhealthy relationships and stay in unhealthy relationships because
Yes.
of the projection in the outside world. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? And for me, this is like me and my ex-husband, we grew apart, right?
Mhm.
Like very, very simple. We grew apart. We were together for, 16 years. We lived our life. We grew a lot. We had children. Like, we had
Things happen.
really good times. Ultimately we grew apart, and it just is it
Mhm.
just was what it was.
Mhm.
um but oh, I got
It's okay.
shifted.
It's okay. You outgrow apart. We were just talking about pivoting and all that. It's
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
So I'm not gonna make you the poster child for divorce, but I do have
No, I don't.
like
I know. I'm okay with it. Oh, about people staying in relationships. So I'm like, I would do myself and my children a disservice if I would have stood in a relationship that wasn't fulfilling. Okay,
absolutely,
that's what it is. So it's like,
absolutely.
I think that's society makes you feel, and people
Mm,
make you feel like, oh my God, I have to stay in this marriage because look at me getting, I can't
mm,
get divorced at this age, or I can't, do this,
mhm,
anything. I can't leave my job. I can't have kids. I can't, it's your life. You do what fulfills you.
mhm.
If it makes you happy, if it makes you happy, if it brings you joy, like that's all that really
Mhm.
matters at the end of the day.
No,
You
absolutely.
know, like life
Absolutely.
is too short to be in a bad relationship. Life is too short to be unhappy, and
Mm.
everything's not about money. So like
Mm-mm.
all those people that are like, "Oh my God, you're leaving a well-paying job." There's people that have tons of money and
Mhm.
driving the most fanciest, nicest car and living in
Mm.
the biggest house and been married for years that are some of the most
Yeah.
dissatisfied,
Mm.
discontent people out there. You know
Absolutely.
what I mean? And it's
Mhm.
like there's so much more to life than making all the money, or you know what I
Mhm.
mean? It's whatever's bringing you peace. If you could sleep well at night, that's it.
No, absolutely. Listen, in my world, corporate world that I lived in
Mhm.
before, I met people that were making 300, 400, $500,000 a year, and they were the most miserable
Yep.
people because if there is anybody that intentionally make other people's life
Yep.
miserable, they're
You have to
miserable.
be. Oh,
They
I was
have
talking to the students about this, about the girl,
they
about the nurse that
miserable
was.
inside because
Yep.
there is no way
Yep.
that you can have internal joy
Yep.
and just intentionally set out to make everybody else
Susan, I
unhappy.
say this all. This is my preach to people when people talk about people being mean or
Yeah.
belittling them, and I'm like, it's a reflection on
Mm,
them. Like how they treat you is a reflection on them. That's not a
100%.
reflection on you. If you know in good
Hmm.
conscience that you didn't do anything to them, and
Yeah.
people are just mean for no reason,
Yeah.
that's them. That's the misery within them. There's nothing you can say. There's nothing you can do to make them feel better. Like they got to find some joy in whatever it is that they're doing.
Mm.
But I say that all the
No,
time.
because it's
There
important.
is
Like,
no way there is no way that somebody is so happy and they're walking around treating people badly.
no, absolutely.
No
Like,
way.
you absolutely cannot. And like I said, I met them, and there they
Hmm.
were. Although I
Yep.
will say, it was a shock though to go from that paycheck to my first paycheck as an entrepreneur.
I bet. I know. See, the thing is that luckily it was in the past, right? So
Yeah,
now
it's
you laugh about it,
I can laugh
you
about it
survived it, you
now.
know.
It's like,
But when it was happening,
it's right.
oh my God, I know.
But
But see,
through the grace of God,
that's
through the
the
grace of God,
vulnerability. Like
like
that's
yes,
like people think it's all
mhm,
glamour. Like no, like it took
yeah,
work. Like I made sacrifices. You know.
yes, one hundred
So
percent,
I think it's important for people to realize that like
yeah.
it's not as simple as it might seem, you
No,
know?
not at all. And I think, but when you're the nose that I get, I mean,
Mhm.
at the time when I get the nose, it hurts.
Mhm.
Then later on, I'm like, you know what? That was good
Mhm.
because that no led to this yes. And if I had gotten that yes,
Yep.
then I wouldn't have this yes.
And this yes
And
is so
this
much
yes
better
is
than
so
that.
much
Yeah.
better. And I couldn't
Yeah.
have done that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's kind of,
It's a
it's
learning
kind of like, okay,
experience.
listen, so I didn't date in high school, right?
Mhm.
Like, and I was just like, okay, this is not going to happen for me. I'm never going to find someone.
Yeah.
And I'm glad
Yeah.
because then, I met my husband
Yeah.
and we fell in love, got married pretty quickly, and we're going to be married 24 years this
Oh,
year. And
congratulations.
thank you. But, it's
Wow.
kind of like, so it's like, I'm not going to, it wasn't fun
Yeah.
during high school because then
Yeah.
I was like, because it's like, oh, you should be dating. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh, I didn't date, but I didn't really like anybody.
Yeah.
So, like if so I'm so glad that
Yep.
like all the other ones that asked me out, I
Yep.
said no
Yep. And it didn't
because
work out all for a
I was
reason.
waiting
Yep.
for the right person to ask me
Right.
out for me to say yes. So
Right.
no, I'm excited about that. Well,
Yeah.
I was going to ask you to say something else about, but you said so many things so
Mhm.
eloquently about being happy with yourself and all that. So
Mhm.
I don't even have to
Mhm.
ask you to share that. So I know that you're also very intentional about living your best life,
Mhm.
and you work very very hard
Mhm.
because I see you at conferences. You're networking.
Mhm.
I see you getting contracts. I see you speaking to different people and doing
Mhm.
different things, panelists at speaking events, and you're teaching and
Mhm.
you're exploring and you're getting an education and doing all that. But you have figured out how to get that work life balance. And not that it's perfect because we
Right.
have moments sometimes when we are
Mhm.
just exhausted and we're like, okay, I'm shutting down for a minute.
Right.
But you truly try to get that
Mhm.
balanced life where you spend time with not only yourself,
Mhm.
but with your son.
Mhm.
Yeah. So
Yep.
tell me, what was that like? When did that come to you, or was that always something that you're like, if I did this for him, I created this life
Mhm.
so that I could spend more time with him.
Mhm.
But then when did traveling come about for you?
Wow. So traveling and like the whole best life thing,
Yeah.
it started with my oldest. So my
Yeah.
oldest will be 20 years old next month in April. And my little one, he's 8. So it started when I first had my oldest son. And wow, he must have been 2 years old when I got my passport. So 18 years ago is when
Mm-hmm.
I had got my passport. I had his passport. And I had a desire to see everywhere in the world. Like
Wow.
I've gone to places that I could have only imagined.
Tell me
I've
about some
seen,
of the
we
places.
went to Paris. I went with my youngest a few
Hmm.
years ago. We went to Paris, saw the Eiffel Tower. Like I was like, oh my God, I got teary. Like I could have
Mm.
never imagined that I would really see the
Wow.
Eiffel Tower.
Yeah.
Like it's stuff like I remember being in school and people would go on their summer vacations with their family and go to like all
Mm.
these incredible places, and I'd be like, oh my God, I'll never make it there.
Mm.
You know, um, I took my youngest to Morocco. We went to Africa to ride camels. I wanted to ride
Yes.
camels in the desert. You
Yeah.
know, I've taken my oldest. We've gone to Hawaii. I took him to Guatemala. Okay, I
Mm.
had a friend that adopted a child from Guatemala, and she told me how amazing it was. So, because I tell people, and they're like, Guatemala, and I'm like, we had
Really?
such a great time. Like the food
Yeah.
was amazing. We went and saw a volcano and an active volcano. We roasted marshmallows on the
Yeah.
volcano. It
No.
was amazing.
I'm good. I'll pass, but thank you.
So I've always had a passion for traveling ever since he
Yes.
was little. And the best life, also since then, where I was just always like, I want to be present in his life, and I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to keep him busy and keep him engaged. He was the only child at the time, so that was always important. And then by the time I lost a daughter. I
Mm.
lost a daughter in 2013,
I'm so sorry.
and thank you. So when I lost her, that's why my boys gap is so huge. They're 12 years apart, but that's why, because we lost a daughter in between. But nonetheless, when I had my youngest, it was again like I don't want to miss anything, which sometimes I don't feel like I missed a lot from my oldest, but
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have the flexibility like I do now.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes any sense,
It
because I
does.
worked full time and I went to school and I did all these things, but I kind of maneuvered. I
Mm-hmm.
maneuvered where I didn't miss like his school performances.
Mm-hmm.
I was present, but being an entrepreneur allows me to be even more present.
Mm.
But anyways, just having my kids have been like, okay, I need to live my best life with them, without them. And this is why like I'll do a lot of things with my children, but
Mm-hmm.
also I spend a lot of time by myself.
Mm-hmm.
I'll go out, I'll travel by myself.
Mm-hmm.
I just I went away for my birthday, I went by myself. I went to Colombia, I went to Panama, I went to Ecuador all alone. I packed my little carry-on and I go about my business. You know,
I
or
love
I'll
it.
go out to eat by myself.
Yes.
And I think the thing about like living the best life, it's again just being happy and content with what you're doing, and living a life of purpose, right?
Mm-hmm.
Living a life of, following your passion,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that some people that are, that seem to have it all, that are miserable or whatever, they're not living
Mm-hmm.
their
Mm-hmm.
purpose. They're
No,
not living, they're not
absolutely.
doing what they're passionate about,
Yeah.
for whatever reason. But that's what brings me joy, and that's the whole like living the best
Mm-hmm.
life, doing stuff that
Absolutely.
makes me happy,
Absolutely. What's the best life for you? It's like it's not might not be your version of the best life,
exactly.
but it's the
Yes,
best
yes,
life
yes,
for you,
yes,
and
it's
that's
your
what
life.
you want.
Yep,
Like you want to go to Paris, fine,
yep,
go to Paris,
yep,
and you want to go to Hawaii, and then some people absolutely loves Florida.
yep,
It doesn't matter if it
yep,
brings you
yep.
joy. That is living your best
Absolutely.
life
Some people don't want to travel.
at all.
That's not their desire.
No,
You know
not
what
at
I mean?
all.
So you follow your desire, like whatever that may look like to you,
Mm-hmm.
But that's the joy of us being so different.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Can you imagine if everybody's goals and everybody's passion was the
So
same?
boring.
So like this is, that's okay. That's okay. So
Mm-hmm.
your best life is what brings you joy, whatever
Mm-hmm.
that looks like to you. Some
Mm-hmm.
people never want to get married. Some people
Mm-hmm.
never want to buy a house.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like whatever brings you joy is what is you living your best life.
Oh no, absolutely. So it's funny. So, I actually one story. So my dog. When you talk about like when your older son, you say you didn't miss. You wonder if you missed some things, and then
Mhm,
like the younger one, like you have the flexibility.
mhm,
So my older daughter like said this to me the other day because since I became an entrepreneur, I have the luxury to take my daughter to school every morning and pick her up. But
mhm.
the older one, I had worked so hard, so
Yeah,
she had to take the bus.
yeah,
And my older daughter said to me the other day, it must be nice that she gets.
yeah, yeah,
I was like, what are you talking about? She was like,
yeah,
I took the bus. I had to be out the cold. I was
yeah,
like, first of all, you did it. Your
yeah,
dad took you.
yeah.
She was like, I took the bus I was like, but we both.
That is so funny. Right.
These
And
kids
she's
will
not gonna leave
hug
you
you.
alone with that. She's
These
gonna bring
kids
that up
will
in 10 years
call
from
you
now.
out. Because I was saying, could you take your sister? I was like, I couldn't pick her up. Could I take your
Yeah,
sister? She was like, let her take the bus.
yeah,
I'm like, no, pick her up. She was like,
yeah,
Mom, I took the bus every day. I was like, so dramatic.
yeah. That is so funny. Yeah, little rivalry over
It's
there. Like,
something.
oh, okay, so that's how you really feel every
Thank
time I
you.
take
Like
her to
something
school.
simple like that. But it was
Yeah.
just like it was something that I wish I could do at the
Right.
time.
Right.
But if I took her to school, I would be late for
Yeah.
work and you couldn't
Yeah.
be late for work. So, but it
Yep.
was just so funny about that.
Yep. My
I,
oldest, he does that. He does that to me too
yeah,
with certain things. He didn't get his first phone until he was like 16 years old. The
you're
baby's 8. The baby
different.
has a phone, but he only has a phone because he goes
Yeah.
back and forth from me to
Yeah.
his father. And I just feel like in the world that we're in, it's a
Mm,
little important.
yeah.
But whatever. That's how I feel.
Yeah.
So my oldest one will be like, I didn't get a phone until I was 16, and blah blah blah. And I'm like, you're lucky. Like I had a pager at 16.
Thank
Like there's
you.
levels to this.
Thank you.
Like come
Thank
on,
you.
yeah.
Thank you. Listen, let me find there's this meme that goes around like the firstborn, but like, no, now you're trying gentle parenting. Throw the TV at them like
Yeah.
you throw it at me.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's the kid with the tears in his eyes.
Yeah.
And I was like, first of all, I never threw the TV at
Yeah.
you.
Yep.
But, I think at a certain point, like you said,
Yeah.
there are levels to it. We
Yeah.
age, we kind of mellow. The
Yep.
things that we thought were important because
I
it's
know.
like
I
before
know.
COVID, my kids didn't miss a day of school.
Yeah.
I'm sad to say I was one of these parents like you're coughing. Let me check the temperature, fever. You don't have
Yeah.
anything. You're going to school.
Yep.
But after COVID, first of all, my kid was literally sitting down sleeping because it was homeschooling, right?
Hmm.
She was like sleeping in front. The teachers were texting me like, "Hey, Sophia Grace is sleeping in front of the." Like, okay, and they survived, right?
Right.
I mean, they didn't get the best education, but they
Right.
survived. But
Hmm.
now I'm just like, if they're sick, they're staying
Yeah.
home, and they
Hmm.
don't take advantage of that because I know Mama still
Yep.
knows.
Yep.
But it's just like I think you get more mellow. I think I
Right.
personally got mellower with the second kid, and I'm just like, it's okay if she misses a day of school. Like the
Yep.
world won't end, but my older
Hmm.
just wasn't allowed to.
Yep. Yep.
I told her like the baby like didn't have sleepovers, he didn't talk to anyone, he didn't do this, but we get
Hmm.
better with
Yep.
age.
I
I
feel like
think.
also with the age, I'm more patient. I'm
Yes.
more patient now than I was with
Yes.
my oldest. So
Yes.
maybe I did throw a TV. I just like I know that I was
We
more patient now
yeah.
than I was before.
Yeah.
But yeah, I let a little more slide probably now because I'm like
Like
I'm not
do.
stressing over this.
I
Like
know.
I'm not
I
arguing
know.
about what you're putting on. Like go ahead and
Nope.
put on snow boots in the summer if you
Nope.
want to. Like you're gonna be hot, not me.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
definitely, yeah, I definitely agree
Yeah.
with that. It is
Yeah.
different. And also like I remember when my oldest would get sick, I would drop him off to my mom's.
Oh well,
And
okay.
now it's like if I can't if I pick up some hours somewhere and my son's sick,
That's your
depending on
priority.
you know what I mean? And I learned that through the years because I was
Yes.
all about like, working
Working.
for an organization and oh my God, I have to, and I
Mhm.
do have good worth ethics, like
Mhm.
I'm not, I'm very responsible. I show up
Mhm.
everywhere that I work, they know I'm going to show up,
Yeah.
but my priorities, I'm like, no, my child's sick. Like
It
I need to be
shifted.
home to take care of him. I'm not
Mm.
dropping him off at my
Mm.
mom's unnecessarily, and
Mhm.
leaving her to take care of him. Like I need to be there. I'm mom
No,
and I can't take
absolutely.
back this time. So now I
You
look at
can't.
my almost 20-year-old and I'm like, oh my God, like where did the years go?
This giant, right?
So my little one, he's 8 years old and in 12 years he'll be 20. And I don't want to, I'm not risking it.
No,
I'm not risking
absolutely
being
not.
present,
No,
you know?
absolutely. And that's it. We just have to be there. And I wanted to go back to something that you had said earlier,
Hmm.
about the things that society puts on us,
Right.
right? And not every woman wants to be married, and not everyone wants to buy a home,
Hmm.
or not everyone wants a master's degree or a
Right.
bachelor's or
Right.
whatever it is. And I think sometimes, when we listen to that, right?
Hmm.
Like we've just got to, everybody has these different ideas, and it's okay.
Right.
That's why. So I'm a motivational speaker. And then sometimes, like, somebody will send me these clips with these narcissistic, misogynistic men
Hmm.
that are saying like if a woman doesn't have a kid, she's not fulfilled. If a woman doesn't
Hmm.
isn't married, she's miserable and all this. And I was just like, okay, first of all, don't send me these clips because
Right.
I'm not giving them the platform to even listen to them, to
Yep.
even comment
I
on their
won't, I
video.
won't, I won't
I just
even pay
I
attention to.
don't.
Yep.
So I'm just like, stop listening to these men
Yep.
who have no idea who
Yep.
you are. So
Hmm.
they'll send it. It's like, oh my God, listen to this. I was like, girl,
Yep.
delete it. I was like,
Hmm.
once I start listening, I was like, okay, delete. Like if it's
Hmm.
motivational, I listen.
Right.
But then I was like, y'all got to stop listening to these fools of
Hmm.
men who
Hmm.
are giving you these insane idea, like it's closer to get struck by lightning if
Right.
than to get married after 42 and all these foolishness.
Hmm.
Stop listening to it.
It is crazy, but that's like social media,
It
and I'm
is.
I'm I'm so grateful that I'm this old, right? And Business West has me on a age. like I'm on the other side of the rainbow. Not yet. I still got time. But I'm like, I'm grateful that I was born before social media,
Yes.
and I'm still logical, I think, because of that. We're like,
Mhm.
I don't know, social media just like changed a lot, like a
Mhm.
lot of good, but there is a lot of bad.
Oh my
And that's the type
goodness.
of stuff right there where it's like, you can't believe everything you hear. So literally you're strong enough and you're smart enough to be like, I'm not listening to this,
Mhm.
but there's some people that
They live by that.
yes, and they believe it and they trust this stuff, and it's like, no, that's not
Mhm.
true, that's not right. And that's why it's important to be a motivational speaker like
Mm.
you are, and just like talk this truth so that other people can see, like, listen, no, I don't care how many followers these people have, like the information they're providing is incorrect, but it is, you see a lot of that online.
No, you
You see a
do.
lot
You
of that
do. And
negativity.
absolutely. I'm
Hmm.
like, stop listening because, like,
Yep.
if you listen to something that
Yeah,
gets in your
you're gonna
feed,
believe it.
like, yeah, and you're
Yep.
gonna believe it. So it comes in your
Hmm.
feed and they keep sending you more and more.
Yep,
Like, you're listening to
absolutely,
it, they're like, just
absolutely.
let it go. Like, don't
Yep.
even listen to it. Some random man that you don't know
Yep.
is gonna like tell you your business.
Hmm. Hmm.
Like you were, and that's actually one of the things. So I was on a panel today,
Hmm.
at
I
QCC.
I was in
I
clinicals. I saw it. I wanted to go.
the panels, they were so good, like four phenomenal women that I truly admire in the community,
Hmm.
and it was like a really good talk. And then after the talk, I got a chance to speak with some members of the community, and they
Hmm.
came, and there was this one lady. She was like, I saw you speak at an event and with my husband, and I wanted to come because I wanted to hear you speak.
Hmm.
And just having a really good conversation with her, and
Right.
then having a conversation with like some of the students, and something that they said like truly resonated with me. So that's why I went home and I posted, like, you were born worthy. Don't allow anyone else to diminish you, because as I was speaking to a particular individual, I could see how their self-worth was impacted by what others thought of them.
Right.
And I think truly one of the best things I learned in my life, and one of the best things we can learn in our life, to learn to determine our own worth than allowing someone else to tell us our worth,
Hmm.
because the world is full of people who will tell us we're not worthy.
Right.
But you were born worthy, and you don't lose that.
Right. Right.
So don't let anyone take that away from you.
Yep. Yep,
So,
absolutely. Absolutely. I actually just read it to someone that was saying that, she got teary-eyed working because she said that everybody has always made her feel like she's not good enough to care for people.
mm,
And she does so well. She does so well with
mm,
residents. Like, she is just a
mm,
natural. And I'm like, absolutely not. I'm like,
mhm,
absolutely not. You don't go based off of that.
mhm,
Like, if it's your passion, if it's in your heart,
mhm,
and she had a patient that only wanted her to feed him, and
mm,
he was like, no, I want her, I want her. And I said, see, you were
mm.
made for this. Like, this is,
Absolutely.
so I hope that changes her mindset,
Mhm,
but
mhm.
people will feed things into you. And the more you hear that negativity,
Yeah.
that's why you kind of gotta, you gotta be around people that motivate you, people that
Mhm.
inspire you, people that are doing better than you. Like, you have to. And that's
Absolutely.
when you'll keep hearing, like, positive things, or you'll be praised for what you do, and all that negative stuff will kind of,
Fade
you won't,
away.
yeah, you
Like
won't
fade
even
away.
pay
Honestly,
attention to it.
I honestly feel like I have a negativity blocker,
Yeah.
because like I feel like it
Yeah.
doesn't, and it's not that I live in la la land,
Yeah. No, no, no.
but
I completely,
I
I
just,
completely agree.
what? It's just like, how is this helping me? Is this
Yep.
productive?
Yep.
Is this helping you? Like,
Mm-hmm.
just do
Absolutely.
something different.
Absolutely. Got to
Do
cut it
something
out.
different. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
no, absolutely.
Yep.
Well, thank you so much for sharing
Mm-hmm.
all of that. But I must say, so today was very, very nice, and you look fabulous.
Thank
Look stunning.
you.
The green color, like when I opened the door and I saw the green, I was
Yep.
like, that is a stunning green. So tell me, you ready for spring?
I am ready.
Yeah,
I am
big.
so over it. Yeah. And then this week was beautiful too.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Like, so I was in clinicals. I was in the hospital. And as soon as I walked out at 2:30, I was like, oh
Mm,
my God. So I did some yard work yesterday.
did
I was
you?
like, oh yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready.
Yeah.
I'm so excited. I'm like, I could do my whole yard. I might
Oh,
change my mind when it really gets nice, but
yeah.
it's a beautiful week.
I
But
love
I'm
it.
telling you, I almost wrote words. It was that exact boy. Yeah. It is Caring Medical Staffing's color. Okay.
No, people in the green complement each other well.
I was like the St. Patrick's Day, so
Yeah.
there we go. One St. Patrick's Day. I don't have a lot of green stuff. I probably have
Really?
like 3 green
Yeah.
outfits. Bought this a few months ago. I never wore it, and I was
It's
like, you know what?
gorgeous.
I'm gonna shine
Yeah,
today.
you said dress code is dressed as fabulously, and
Fabulous. Yep.
like just if you want to wear a full on ball gown,
I said I'm ready, and it's short sleeve, but I'm ready for the show.
who go out in their yard and do I mean, I won't do it, but I admire women that do yard work. And
I don't want to do it either. Like, so I don't want to do it. I'm just like you. I don't want to do it. It's not. I'm not. I shouldn't admit it.
People genuinely enjoy it. My neighbor does.
So my neighbor does too. She'll be outside with that lawnmower, like just, and I'm like, okay. So I don't mind planting.
Oh, okay.
I will plant some plants. You know, I've added a few to my garden. Like that, I enjoy doing, even though I don't think my thumb is too green.
Yeah.
But to have to like pick up sticks and leaves and that type of stuff, I'm just like, I'm not made for this.
Yeah.
But it was so nice that I was just like, oh, let me just pick up. You know, I was just acting like I enjoyed it. But it was all a show. It was because it was nice. That's why I told you I'll do it now. But ask me in a month if I had somebody come and do it, or if I did it.
Yeah,
probably did it.
no, I have a guy that comes like every 2 weeks during the in the
I usually do too.
Yeah, girl, I can do it.
I know. I'm like, inside the house is where I belong.
That's me.
You know, I'll cook, I'll
That's
clean, do
me.
the
That's
laundry,
me.
like all that stuff. Outside, I'm like, oh my gosh.
I know.
You know.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm not ready to go out there and
No,
do that. It's
no.
okay.
I don't know how to use my snow blower.
Okay.
Like I'm not. Yeah, right. But what is that?
I don't
Right,
even
I
want to
know.
learn.
Snow blower. Somebody try to teach me. I'm like,
I 100% don't even want to learn. So my husband does it, and then Sarah Jessica enjoys it. My daughter enjoys it. Like
really?
she does.
Oh, that's amazing.
And she goes out there and she cleans off my car and does the driveway and all of that. 18.
Oh, that's amazing. That's what my 20-year-old, he does
That is a
not.
blessing. I was shocked because she didn't get it
It's
from
a
me.
punishment for him to go and
Yeah.
help with anything outside.
Oh
My
yeah.
little one will. My
Yeah.
little one, he'll pick up sticks.
Yeah.
He'll do a little bit here and there. You know, I
Yeah.
get him his little yard
Yeah.
gloves. So then he's really helping. Yeah.
Yeah.
But then it lasts just a little bit and then he leaves.
Yeah.
But
Okay. Yeah. No. So no, not a fan of the outdoor work and
no,
all of that. But hey,
no.
I'm all right. Survive. I persevere. Right. I persevere. Like
So
yeah,
funny.
I mean, everything's
know.
not meant for me. It's
No,
okay.
absolutely right.
It's okay.
Not my passion.
Not my passion. So, about these vacations that you go in, so are you more a luxury vacation? Because you did mention that you roasted marshmallows over an active volcano, which is insane, girl. But like, do you do active vacation, like where you're hiking and exploring and going into caves and rope climbing? And
Yep. I will. Yep.
Okay.
I did rappelling in Mexico into a cave to the
Okay.
water. I rode a bike on a wire in El Salvador, and I'll never do that again. I was terrified. I almost
Jeez.
like when I went to the other side, I almost didn't come back and was gonna walk
So
all the
you
way
go
down.
there and go back?
Yes, and it
Wow.
was scary. So my thing is like you only live once, so
You
there's like
too?
things that I'll be like, oh, I want
Yeah.
to try this. Um, so yeah, I'm a little adventurous like that, but I do like the luxury. Like
Yeah.
I can go, you know, I can go in a nice resort and do
Okay.
spas and stuff
Yeah.
like that. I enjoy
Yeah.
also. So I don't know. I enjoy all of it. I'll go hiking. I've hiked a few volcanoes and a few different
Okay.
places.
Look at you,
And
girl.
it's because the view once you get there, I
Yeah.
know it's worth it.
So
And
let's
once
not vacation together, but go on.
okay.
Because I will not do the adventure with
Okay,
you.
I know. Well, Puerto Rico, they has the rainforest.
Uh,
Oh my God! I went with a friend. We went all the way to the top, and I was just like, "Oh my God,
yeah.
the view was gorgeous." But
I
I almost died like
know.
6 times. Okay, I needed an inhaler.
I just
Okay, but I'll do it again. That's the thing.
yeah,
I don't
because
learn.
you enjoyed it. Like, but I'm not an adventurer. So, like for me, like an adventure is like, I'll be like in the middle of the pool, like on a floating bed, like eating caviar and grapes, and I'm like, oh my god, this is so adventurous.
Yeah.
I'm joking.
That
But yeah, like I would rather that though than hiking a volcano or doing a
we
rainforest.
rode horses.
I rode camels and horses. I did jet ski.
Yeah,
That I
jet
don't
ski, that's
mind.
fun.
That was fun, but that's fun. I did explore Chichen Itza in
Okay,
Mexico
yep.
once. I'm good. Once is enough.
Okay.
Um, I'll do snorkeling. But those are mild. Like I think you definitely like the
I've done
edge a
some
little.
yeah
Yeah.
I've done some things
Yeah.
yeah
Yeah.
Yeah, I've done. I want to swim with pigs.
Oh,
I do want to swim with pigs.
yeah,
I've
that's
seen
in the
that.
Bahamas. That's in the
Yep, they
Bahamas
have it
where
in the
that.
Bahamas. I
Yeah,
swim with dolphins. Both my
yeah,
kids. I've
that
taken
one I
them.
did.
That is neat.
That wasn't fun for me, but I did it.
No.
Like it was okay, but I was just like I was terrified. I'm not gonna
Mhm.
lie, but that was the simplest. But
I
I know
wouldn't do
that
it with sharks.
yeah, they have the sharks.
Mm-mm. That
So
I'm all set. I
you'll
want to go
go
on a helicopter. I want to go on a
okay.
helicopter over the Grand Canyon or over Niagara Falls. That's on my bucket list. My ex-husband's like, just don't bring the baby with you.
Yeah, I was just
You
gonna
know,
say.
I want to do it. I'm like, that view from up
I
top, it has to be
know.
amazing.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
what else? I want to jump out of a plane.
No.
I will.
No.
I will
I will not.
someday.
I
I
just
have to.
I girl.
I
That
know.
is incredible though. Like I admire people. They did that in Worcester recently.
Really?
Like Julie Bowditch, Ron Waddell, and a couple of people
Mm-hmm.
that they were doing it was like a fundraiser. And they
Really?
actually did.
Mm-hmm.
So see if they want to do it again and tell them that you want to do it. And
Mm-hmm.
they went and they jumped off of
Yep.
out of a perfectly good plane and they're
Mm-hmm.
still alive and all
Yep.
that.
Yep.
But it's just not something that motivates me.
Yep. I want to do it. I want to do a
Oh,
hot air balloon in Turkey. That's
yeah.
on my bucket list.
Okay.
Yeah. I know. I know. I don't
I
know where I got
get
it
it. Like
from.
we
My
get
family,
adventures
people aren't
differently.
adventurous like that in my
Yeah.
family. Like I don't know where I got it from,
Yeah.
but it's there. And
Yeah.
my kids are too though. My
Yeah.
kids are super adventurous.
Okay.
When almost 20-year old, when he turned 18,
Yeah.
he drove across country.
Oh
Him and his
wow.
friend, they packed their stuff and they drove and stopped in a bunch of states that I've never even been.
Yeah.
Went to all the way to California, and he just went with it. You
Mm.
know, they're
Yeah.
very adventurous. They love it.
I listen, I think that's great. My husband's like that and my older daughter is like that. The younger one, somewhat, it all
Hmm.
depends. She don't like walking, girl. But
I don't like walking either. I'll do it when I'm on vacation. Other
but
times, I don't
yeah,
want to walk either.
yeah. So like I would love to go to a museum. Like I want to go to the
I
Louvre.
like that
I
stuff
want to go look at
too.
the museum and things like that. And my daughter's like, Mom, I'm bored. Like she would rather rappel down a mountain.
Yep.
Meanwhile, I'm like,
I get joy from either. So
yes,
the Wonder
I
Museum, have
love
you been there
that.
in Boston? Oh
No.
my God, it's amazing. The Wonder Museum. It's
Okay.
WNDR.
Okay.
I went there. I
No, I
went there by
haven't been.
myself.
You
I
yes.
went and I explored it
See,
all
I
and
enjoy
took pictures.
museums.
It was a nice museum.
Oh,
That's a really
okay.
nice one.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, I'll go check
Yep.
it out
But
and
I'll
I'll
do
go by myself.
museums.
I'll definitely probably go. But you have the balance though. Like you like some
I
and
like it
don't.
all. Like people always ask, like, what do you enjoy? And I'm like,
Yeah,
oh my God, I really enjoy so much. Like I could just go. I love going to the movies.
I do too.
There's a place in Connecticut. It's called Cinepolis, and
Mm.
there's a little button, and you press for someone to come to take your order. They order
Oh,
food. There's drinks. In the movie theater, it's amazing.
yeah.
But like I love all that stuff. I go ice skating.
Okay.
I'll go ice skating, which is insane.
So
You
you
know.
that
Yeah.
like I do like ATV riding. So
Yep.
that like
Yep.
I
That's adventurous,
like yeah,
especially
that's
if
what
it's
I'm
muddy
saying.
and you get all
Some
muddy.
no.
No. Oh, okay.
Like
You go to the
rated.
right place, you
Like
get mud.
rated.
It's like, ooh, full of
Rated. Like rated. Cousins. We're not twins. No.
that's
So I do ATV, but I don't want the mud on me.
right.
And definitely not in my head.
That's so funny. Yeah, yeah.
I know my kid says I'm so bougie, but
Do you like the heat?
I do prefer the heat than the
Okay.
cold. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah. Okay.
mind.
Me too.
But see, I don't sweat as much as my family does, which is
Really?
not necessarily a good thing because you're supposed to sweat, but I'm not really a sweater.
Really?
So like my
Okay.
kids, like they get hot, they sweat. So I prefer the heat. Like my daughter prefers the cold, although
Really?
all winter, all winter.
She complains.
No, I
No.
take she sleeps with the AC on the whole time, her
Really?
windows open, ice box. So she's all winter I take her to dance. She
Hmm.
has on her little dance tights and like just a little shirt. And I'm like, girl, wear a jacket. She's like, Mom, it's not cold. Today, which was hot, she wore sweatpants
It's
and a hoodie
yeah. Yep. Yep.
all winter.
Yep.
Every time we came out of the house, I'm like, girl, take a jacket with you in case the car breaks down,
Yep. Now that
whatever.
it's nice, she wants the hoodie. Yep. I believe it.
I'm like, what is this?
Hmm.
I said, I didn't even say a thing to her. I'm just like,
Hmm.
it's okay. I'm gonna pick you up. I'm gonna drop you off. I gotta go to the studio. It's like I can't even bother. But no, you know what I love though? Like just watching like the differences between my kids.
Oh my God, I
Like there's
know.
just it's so fascinating
I
to
know.
see.
But
eh,
it makes you wonder. Like you have siblings? You have siblings?
Too much. Yes, a lot.
Yeah, me too. Me too. So my father had 10 kids.
Yeah, I had four and four. Like I had four brothers and four sisters. That's
Yeah.
why I was
See,
like,
my
too
father had
much.
5 boys, 5 girls.
Jesus.
Right, too much. And he came from, his parents had 11,
No
11,
cable.
11 children.
No cable, girl.
Um, but when you think about it with your siblings,
Yeah,
like, oh my God, like, look how different you
we
are to your
are.
siblings,
We
So
are.
to see it with your children, it's like, okay, like you could understand, but
Mm,
it is fascinating.
yeah.
I could see the difference in them since they were little. Since like
Hmm.
when my little one was real little, like I
Yeah.
was like, oh my God, like it's
Yeah.
just like a whole, obviously another child, but it's
Yeah.
just it's a whole
Hmm.
nother world. But
Yeah.
it's also the generation,
Mm.
how okay, so you have an 18-year-old and
12. So it's a 6 years.
yeah,
It's not
yeah,
like,
and
but it's still the, yeah.
so much has changed in
Yeah,
six
so much has
years,
changed. Yeah, no,
So like if I
absolutely.
was to have another child now at this old age, like it would be even more
Listen,
significant of
you,
a difference,
yeah, no, no, like you played with my friend. Okay, you played
yeah.
with my friend.
But it's so crazy, but
Yeah,
it's literally like a whole nother world,
no, it is.
But yeah.
Listen, when I had my
Hmm.
my last daughter, so remember it was
I
after
didn't realize
35.
your kids were 6 years apart.
Yeah. So 35. So every
Mhm.
time, so at 35, it's called a geriatric pregnancy, FYI. So it was every time I went to the doctor, my doctor, I kid you not, and we would crack up because he was like, so we just got to make sure that we're taking our folic acid because in your advanced age, this is a geriatric pregnancy. So my best friend was living in Brazil at the time. So every time I went to the doctor for my checkup,
Hmm.
I was like, oh my God, you have to take a shot every time he mentions geriatric
Right.
pregnancy in my old age. And he did it every single time. I don't know why they think
Yep.
we're over the hill
Yep.
after 35.
I know, it's so sad. And yeah, I'm definitely over the hill. It would definitely be geriatrics. But then you see
But
people that
yeah,
do, people that do have kids later
yeah.
in life, and if it's meant to be, it'll
If it's
be.
meant to be,
But
you will
so
be.
my kids being 12 years apart,
Yeah.
like I told you, I'm more mature than I
Mm,
was when I had my first
yeah.
child. Um, and it's been literally like a whole different experience. It's a
Yeah.
completely different experience than when I had my oldest
Yeah.
before, and
Mm,
I'd be wondering, like, I can appreciate it though, because I was able to enjoy
mm,
my oldest fully. You know what I
mm-hmm.
mean? Like I remember like my
Absolutely.
mom having to split her time
Mm,
between all her children,
yeah.
and I didn't.
Yeah.
There's a downside of it, not having kids close to age, because I can appreciate my siblings being close to
Mm-hmm.
age, that the ones that I had. And then so there's a positive and negative of having
No,
kids with such a large gap,
no, absolutely. He had you for 12 years. And, that's what I
Hmm.
said to my older daughter sometimes. I'm
Yep.
like, you got to remember, you have something she'll never have. You
Right.
had me
Right.
for 6 years,
Yep.
by yourself.
Fully. Yep.
And
Yep.
exactly
Yep.
where I'm
Absolutely.
doing two.
Yep. Yep.
But
She
yeah,
has to split me. You didn't have to split me for all those years.
exactly.
Absolutely.
So when,
Absolutely.
when you're
Yep.
telling
That's a
me
good
like
one. I'm
it,
gonna tell my oldest
that's
one
what
that.
I
I
do
haven't I haven't
because
said that to him.
listen, they never get out of the age where they
Hmm.
have to remind you like, oh, she got McDonald's, and
Yeah.
I'm like, I didn't even
Yeah.
know you were home. But I mean, I got 360, but yeah, that's so you got to
Right.
remind her like, boo, it's okay. You
Right.
had me for six
Yeah.
like whole
I'm
years.
gonna use that for my
Like,
oldest.
yeah,
Cause
girl, we
yeah.
got at least us parents, we got to work
Oh no,
together.
that's a really good one.
Like,
It's
he
true.
had me
It's
for
true. He's
12
he's had
years.
to share
Undivided
me for 8
attention.
years. Yeah.
Exactly. Undivided
Mhm.
attention for
Mhm.
12 years. You'll be all
Yeah.
right, boo.
Yeah.
You'll be all right.
Absolutely.
Well, listen, this has been such
Mhm.
a good chat. And I
Yeah.
always want to make sure that I get a chance to talk about self care, but you do
Mhm.
so many different things that I think that
Mhm.
is focused on both your physical and your mental health. But is there any special thing that you do for self care? Or is that your
So,
travel?
the travel is big. That is self-care, but like just like regularly, like I love watching the sunset. Like I
Mm,
love watching the sunset. I love the sun rising. I'm not much
mm,
of a morning person, but for something like that, I will. I do
yeah.
like wine. Drinking a
Okay.
glass of wine is peaceful to me. A spa,
Mm-hmm.
reading. I do like to read.
Okay,
When
good.
I find time. I'm not much of a TV person. I don't watch a lot of TV, but stuff like that, just kind
Oh,
of where I'm at peace,
all right. I love
sitting in
that.
the backyard that I don't like to do, just sitting there, like stuff like that really really, that's my self-care.
I love it. So
And
anything
eating
peaceful, peaceful.
food, going
Girl,
out to eat.
food is
Food is life.
food is
Yeah, that's self-care.
that is love.
Yeah, and then I gotta go to the gym and try some more self-care to
Okay.
get, but yeah.
Okay. All right, cool. Well,
Mm-hmm.
I'm so happy to hear that. Well, listen, thank you so much for
Mm-hmm.
saying yes to being one of our featured
Yes.
phenomenal women for the month of March. I'm so excited. It was a really wonderful time just talking to you, and
Mhm.
I learned a lot about you
I
today,
know.
girl.
There's
Yeah,
a lot about me.
like there's a lot about you. Continue to do what you do. Continue to show up and be vulnerable and share your story because you're inspiring so many with your journey. And I hope you know that you know it's your time.
Thank you.
It's your
Thank
time.
you. I am so happy for this time. This was amazing. I learned a lot about you as well. I think I've met you maybe 2 years ago.
Yes,
I
at a
think about
networking event.
it was through Carla.
Oh, okay. Yes,
Carla from Wellstorm to
yes,
yeah, networking
yes,
event. Yeah,
yes.
yeah. It's been
Okay.
amazing, but it was
I'm
a
so
pleasure
glad.
to be here.
It was a pleasure to be here. Well, thank you so
Thank
much. All
you.
right, awesome. So, this is the end of the episode. I know we could continue talking for a very, very long
Hmm.
time, but we've got to go break and do some yard work. Psych. So, listen, I had a great time. I'm Positively Suzanne. Thank you to all my loyal subscriber and viewers. Thank you to our executive producer, Paul Anderson. And as always, this is Positively Suzanne and
Diana Preston.
saying ta ta.